So we're going to cover calendar blocking briefly today, just so you understand where we're going. We're going to go more in depth about calendar blocking as we're actually setting up your first quarter 2025. But I want you to understand where we're heading with the tasking triage. So today we're actually going to work on the tasking triage, actually. So you've listed out your tasks, you color coded them, and you've grouped them together in blocks. So now what you're going to do is you're going to take a clean calendar. I do it on Outlook. I like the different colors it allows me to have. So I make different calendar categories. And so I have, actually, let me look it up and I'll tell you exactly what I have. So on my Outlook, I have my general calendar. I have my consulting calendar, which is so consulting and coaching clients. So I have those time blocks when I'm available for people. Then I have focus time. Focus time for me is when I'm working on the book or I'm working on curriculum, doing these recordings, setting up what my social media path is going to be. So I need blocks of time. So for me, focus time is a 2 to 3 hour block that I have 2 to 3 times a week, depending on how my week is going. Consulting for me, those are 3 hour blocks that I have. And depending on the day, I'll have it like twice in a day. And so for me, that color is burgundy. So, when I look at my week, I can see that I've got like, 2 spots of burgundy. I've got 1 spot in so I can see my color and I'm balancing it. For me, I'm very visual. So I'd like to see the balancing. Another category I have is personal and family time. So, my morning walks or my stretching, that's personal time. And then I have the same code, like my kids come over every Tuesday for dinner, whoever's in town. So I've got one that lives local, 2 that are out of town. So when they're in town, we all gather Tuesday nights for dinner. Either I cook or we order in, but we get to kind of get together and I get to share some time with my adult children. And I love that, we're pretty consistent about it. So I block out that time. I don't want to mess with that. And then I have my tasks, which is those are smaller also blocks of time that I know that remember I talked about setting a timer. So I will just kind of sit down and I know that I'll go through my emails and clean out junk mail from things that I need to respond to. If it's a quick response, I'll go ahead and do it. If it is something that needs a longer response, then I put that into the focus category. And so that is on my list of focus time that, let's say I need to write a proposal or something like that. Or I'll sit down and quickly, I have an accountability partner that I work with. And you could also set this up. This would be great to do, actually, as a thought, is I have somebody that every morning I send her my 3 tasks that I'm going to get done in the day. And she sends me her 3 tasks so we can follow up with each other. So you can also do that. So I have that in my tasking group. I have like, at 8 o'clock in the morning, I have task with your three intentions for the day. And I repeat that Monday through Friday. We don't do that on the weekends. End of year, you can do it 7 days a week. I think that's fine. Depends, but find an accountability partner. That'd be awesome. And then I have, so I also do consulting work for a couple of companies. So they actually have specific blocks of time because I meet with them and their staff and their team on those days. So I have that, and that is actually I use slate gray for that one. So I have different colors. So when you look at it, and when you go to the video, you can actually see a visual example of it. So I can look, and so what happens is I used to do it on Fridays, and now I do it Sunday afternoons. So basically, I prepare for the week to come. And I will look at my calendar and I see the color balance. And I'm like, okay, again, I'm visual. So this is, really top heavy in this, that, and the other thing. And I just kind of look through my calendar and I've got set appointments. I've got like 3 different platforms that set up appointments, and those are also different colors. And so I kind of look at where my set appointments are. I make sure that my personal time is there and that I'm taking care of myself. And then I look at maybe where I want to flex focus time. If I know that I've got something happening, I've got a book deadline or something, then I'll expand my focus time, especially around that as we come up on that deadline. I'm very deadline driven. That's a confession because that's not always great. And then I'll put, my tasking time and those kind of things. So I kind of like make sure that my calendar is full. And I don't mean full with just activities. I mean, as in I'm accounting for all my time. If I have lunch, I have my personal time, I've got like a span of lunch. 1 o'clock is lunch. Do I always get to eat lunch at 1 o'clock? No. Sometimes it gets shifted because something else took too long. So that's leads to the other step of calendar blocking. So remember we talked about it's like having a financial budget. You need to account for all of your money before you spend it. Well, I account for all my time. And so Sunday afternoons, I'll sit down and I'll do 2 weeks out. So I know what's going this week, and then I look at the following week to kind of see what's coming up, looking for deadlines. And if I have trips coming up or something that I know that I might have to shift something that I would normally do in 2 weeks, that I need to kind of shift and get some things done beforehand. Especially if I got videos or projects that are due that I might need to push forward a little bit. So I kind of look forward for 2 weeks. Then, and this is also an important step, is I look at the previous week. And I tend to do it on a daily basis, but I really go through and I'm like, okay, this was what I thought my week was going to look like. I've made some adjustments, but is this what really happened this week? And so I'll look through it and I'll be like, normally I give myself this amount of time for lunch. Well, I actually ended up having lunch with a friend. I didn't adjust the time and we just ended up having like a really long lunch. I was able to do that because she needed to work through something. And so I'll expand that to make sure that it really reflects. So when I look back at my calendar, it really reflects the reality of what happened. Because there is what we wanted to have happen and then what actually happened. And I'm realizing now that probably the way this is flipped, I should probably do that in reverse. Is what we want to have happen, right? Is in front of us, and then what actually happened. So whatever angle this works in as I flip the videos around, I don't know. Because you always want to be self-checking. You always want to look back and say, oh, I thought this was going to happen this way, but it really happened this way. And then that way, the next time you're like, well, I really think this is going to happen this way. You're like, well, last time I thought that it really happened the other way. So let me find a happy medium. Maybe I need to be more efficient, or maybe I just need to assign more time to it. So whatever it is. So you really want to self-check. So it is about pushing forward and checking in the back and making sure that things are moving forward like that. Now you can make as many categories as you feel fit to do. I had more categories before because I kind of like, oh, I love this. And I had like a little rainbow going on across my calendar. And then I realized, okay, that's a lot. So I kind of condensed some of my categories. So for me, focus time, I used to have writing time where I would sit and I knew that every day I wanted to write for an hour because that was what writers did. And that's what, the seminars that I'd taken said, you have to write, sit down and schedule it out and have a place and you write for an hour. It wasn't happening. So I looked historically at saying, I'm not writing an hour a day. So and then there's other things that I needed to get done. So I just kind of combined writing, curriculum, and proposals. I kind of made that into one category, which is focus time. Now, the other category that I have that I kind of retired for now, but I'm going to be picking it up again in the first quarter was prospecting. So prospecting and outreach was another block of time, and I kind of did that three days a week. I did that in the morning, and then 2 days a week I did that in the afternoon. And that was, doing things on social media, reaching out to emails or responding to different groups that I belong to, putting myself out for speaking engagements. So that was my prospecting and outreach. So again, I got very busy actually doing the work. So I put that on the back burner, and now I'm going to be resurrecting that, probably starting in the beginning of January. I'm going to wait till everyone gets back from the holidays. So probably mid-January, I'm going to re-establish that kind of outreach program because I also know there's certain deadlines coming up. So that's going to get resurrected. So you can build these categories, you can rotate them out, you can combine them as you see fit. I did the outline of the book. I got the most of the book done, and I'm sending out the proposals. So I know that right now there's not a lot of writing because I really want to get some feedback before I finish off the book. So I've kind of backburnered that. That's why it's in that focus area. Now, if I get the contract, or if I decide to self-publish, or when I decide, okay, it's time, then writing might pop out again as its own category because now I'll have a deadline. I'll have a thing that I'm working towards. So again, this work is all fluid. These are all working documents and they adjust to what you need to get done. This is where another little podium side rant moment is don't let the lack of the tool stop you. If you don't have the form, if you didn't go on my website and get the tasking triage form, use a piece of paper. If you, there's something that you're like, oh, if I only had a CRM, the right program, if I only had the right resources, don't do that to yourself. You don't need the tool to get it done. It would be easier with the tool, maybe, but you don't need the tool. Don't use that as your excuse to not engage. For all of the work that we've been talking about, all you need is a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil. I do recommend that you write it down, but you don't need the workbooks. You don't need the forms. If you don't have Outlook, and you want to use, if you want to use Google, or you want to use Outlook, or you want to use a written calendar, whatever works for you. You can use an Excel spreadsheet. You can do anything that you have available that is easily available to you and doesn't have to cost you any money. If you want to spend money and get the program or get the tool, that's up to you. But your success does not pivot on the better tool. If you spend a lot of money on, let's say, a program to help you with customer outreach, I had one and it was great. I was spending a lot of money and I was not using it as often as the price would warrant. And I knew that I wasn't doing enough of it to warrant the tool, and I could easily do it in a spreadsheet. So I downgraded it and I'm doing it on a spreadsheet. And I feel better about it because I'm not putting out 20 emails a day in order to prospect. I don't have that level of follow-up because I don't need it right now. So I'm happy with these are the people I have to get a hold of. These are the people that I've sent emails to. And so it's just, I have a different method. You don't have to spend the money. Now, I've also bought tools and had the funnels and this and that. And that I thought maybe if I had the tool, I would get better at doing it. I didn't. I spent the money. I didn't get better at it. I still was stuck. There's something about that process. Like building funnels for me are a problem because I don't like the way that sale moves forward. I don't like, I'm not the person that says, thank you for signing up for this. Hey, do you want to buy this? And I thank you for buying this lower end thing. Do you want to buy this more expensive thing? I don't like it having happened to me. So I don't do it. And maybe that's a mistake on my part. And I know that some people are going to jump down my throat on that because you got to sell. I'm not comfortable with it. So it doesn't matter how expensive or how great the tool is. I'm not comfortable with it. So I'm not going to engage with it. Same thing. If you don't want to work out, and how many gym memberships are out there that no one goes to the gym, but they still pay for the gym every month? The tool, you're paying for the tool, you're not using it because you're not inclined to use it. How many people are not spending a dime on a membership, but yet they're going out and they're running or they're walking or they're doing free yoga videos at home or wall Pilates and they're not spending a dime, but they're getting it done because the motivation's there. So it doesn't matter what you spend on the tool or don't spend on the tool. If your motivation's not there, you're not going to do it. So whatever you do not spend money on something until you know that is something that you really want to do and that really will help your efficiency. That's my rant for that moment. I want to make sure that I'm covering all of the questions. So at this point, you have worked out a list of small 30-minute tasks that you can do, that you're picking 3 every morning. You are doing 3 gratitudes in the evening to end your day well and to kind of like sleep hygiene, go to sleep happy. You have done the tasking triage. You see what you do in the day and you've started grouping that together and started really kind of formulating a better calendar blocking and habit stacking, right? You are starting to look at what you want to do in the coming year. And you've looked at what you've done in 2024 and you're kind of seeing what you can finish up or at least set up by the end of the year, and you're starting to see if any of that you want to push over into what you want to get done in the first quarter of next year, right? So what I want to do is I want to finish this week off with kind of those tools. If you are having trouble accessing the tools, so there's a special page that I built for this 2024 to 2025 gear shift. So you can go on that. If you can go to the link here. I just ask for your email so you can get a login. And then you have access to these videos, some additional videos that I think will help support that I've done, and the worksheets, so that you can use the worksheets or use a piece of paper, whatever helps. If you're having trouble accessing that, just let me know, and we'll work through that. And I think that's it for today. Thank you very much. See you next time.